Welcome back to Live from the Pit. I'm your host, Tom Quiet, and I'm sitting here with the band Dawn, Mike McCall. How's it going, y'all?
It's going great. We're so excited to be here with you, and you absolutely crushed the pronunciation on all of those.
I was when we were supposed to do this the other day, I was listening to an interview you guys did. I don't know if it was for the release of 2002 or the one before that. You guys did an interview, and I just sat there and studied how to pronounce everything, and I was just like,
Oh,
okay.
that's awesome. I
So,
love that. Yeah, no, it's we definitely get a lot of confusion on the name.
oh,
Um, we didn't really think about it when we were coming up with the band name, but it does at least work really well when you search for it.
yeah.
Yeah, people call it DAVVN all the time.
Yeah. We're
Well,
thinking about making some shirts that say not the dish soap. It'll help with the pronunciation,
yep.
everything. So,
Nice. That'd be really cool. I'd be into one of those. It's just I'm all about buying the merch from the bands, except I have to be very careful because it seems like every time I buy a band's merch, they break up.
Oh
no.
no.
So
Oh, no,
it
don't. You can't buy any of our merch now. I
okay,
forbid it.
fair, very fair. Because it was like, especially early on during the pandemic, there was a few bands up on the East Coast that were like they were trying to fund for an album, and I'm like, yeah, I'll support that. And then like the album didn't come out because the band broke up, and I'm like, dang
Whoops.
it. Okay, okay,
Yeah.
fine.
Well, I blame that on the pandemic. That
Yeah,
wasn't you.
that's fair. All
Fair,
right, you're
fair,
loud again.
very
There's a shirt with your name on it.
okay, awesome. So y'all met in Boston. Mike, you're originally from Boston. McCall, you're originally from
Yep.
Minnesota. So how did you guys kind of meet in Boston?
So we both went to Tufts University, and we actually somehow knew of each other, but never really formally met until senior year. But when we did meet, we were really bonding a lot over just shared interests in music. We both loved original like 2000s pop punk and like emo kind of music, which was not really like popular at the time. A lot of people were more into like indie kind of music. So we felt like we had suddenly found like this one other person that we could really connect with on a musical level. And we made music pretty much like since then. So yeah, really been trying to hone our sound and find out what's right for us. But yeah, we made the move to Nashville 2 years ago, almost now.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I can't believe it's been 2 years. But yeah, really feeling like we found our team and the people around us are just awesome out here.
That's awesome. It's kind of funny that, or not funny, it's interesting that y'all moved to Nashville right after like Nashville was going through like a really horrible time. They had that like explosion, they had the tornado, and then the pandemic, and it was like 2020, 2021 was like a really rough time for Nashville there.
oh my God. No, I remember reading that stuff being like, are we making the right call here? Like, is this the right city?
Right.
Um, but I'm so happy we did. It's such a supportive environment for artists, and there's so much more music other than just country.
Yeah.
So we love it, and it's really helped us find, like Mike said, a good team for making that nostalgic sound that we kind of really settled on.
Yeah, for sure. So when you first were coming up with the idea for Dawn, what were you shooting for? Did you know right away that you wanted to kind of do the 2000s pop punk thing, or was there like an initial idea that you were playing around with?
So when we first started, we were actually kind of leaning more into like electronic side of things, like down tempo kind of
Okay.
pop music. And this was like 4 or 5 years ago at least.
Mhm.
But we kind of started shifting more and more towards like guitar focused music and having the guitar in with the electronic elements. And then we are now definitely like more on the guitar rock side of things, which kind of felt natural for us. Like I've always been a guitar player. That was always how I wrote. So having to switch into like playing piano was not like fully natural for me.
Yeah.
And like I know that both of us like really loved this kind of music growing up, and now that it's had its like resurgence and it's back in the forefront, we're really
Yeah,
glad to be able to be a part of that.
for
Yeah.
sure, for sure. You know, I do want to touch on this really quick because it's kind of how I came across y'all originally was your TikToks.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
saw a lot of your TikTok videos, because you hang around enough Nashville people, and especially on social media, the crossover really starts to happen. And I think, what was the bowling for soup thing?
Oh
That,
my gosh. Yeah, so basically, like mid-pandemic, I
mhm,
saw this TikTok actually, and it was like, oh, if 1985 was released today, it'd be called 2002. I was
Mhm.
like, that's kind of a fun, like, let's just write this song, for fun. And we put it out, and it got like a little bit of traction in
Mhm.
2021. And then this year, Mike was like, okay, let's repost that. Let's see how it does. It feels like a new year.
Mhm.
And then it just like blew up, and Jarrett Reddick ends up seeing it and
Yeah.
reaching out and being like, hey, let's put this out together. So it's
Nice.
crazy. Just like
Nice.
a fun little thing that we did during the pandemic, then came back and made.
Yeah, we were definitely like we were like, is this going to be a real song? Are we putting it out
Yeah.
as like a Dawn song? Are we putting it out as like a McCall Bliss kind of song? We were like, we weren't sure exactly how it was going to come out. And then Jarrett was like, oh, let's do it like as like with the real tracks from Bowling for Soup. And I was like, oh
Mhm.
my God, wait, we're going to
Yeah,
actually
do
be able to
it.
really do this. Like this, because I thought we were just going to have to do like a little like kind of cover thing and like throw it up on YouTube. But
Yeah.
really, really excited that we were able to like get it done. And it's definitely one of the things that's brought in a lot of people to find the rest of our music as well.
And it's
Nice.
so cool to be able, like, that. I remember we both grew up on 1985 listening
Mhm.
to that as kids. So to be able to work with them and release a version for our generation was just like a dream that I didn't even know I had.
Yeah. That's really cool. And just kind of the fact that social media in general is like the fact that it blew up on social media just in general was really cool. And that was kind of that first thing that turned my attention to what y'all were doing. I saw a couple of videos, I saw the TikToks, and I saw all this stuff, and then I found you I think because I try and keep my TikToks and my Instagram separate, and then I think I just randomly found you on Instagram, and
Nice.
it was just very weird how it all kind of happened. And and then I messaged y'all and got this set up, and it took a little bit, but we got here, so it's all good.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
glad to be here.
Yeah.
I feel like the music industry is so funny. Like you'll have to run into a band. Like when I'm discovering new bands, I feel like this
yeah,
happens for everybody, but it's like you have to have these like they say that it's like 7 points of contact before you
yeah,
finally listen to the song.
yeah,
It's like you have to accidentally stumble on it a few times or have a friend tell you about it
yeah.
to eventually make the full connection.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. That's exactly what happened here. So y'all just released. You've been busy for the at least since you got to Like, I mean, you've been busy for a long
Yeah.
time, but from Nashville, you've kind of really kicked it into high gear. You've released all kinds of music. You just released another single. Anybody else? What's the story behind this song?
So we went in with our co-writer and producer, and we were like, "Hey, I want to write a song like Michelle Branch because I was obsessed with Michelle Branch growing up." So that was kind of the jumping off point, and then our producer ends up finding like a really nostalgic like drum beat, and then from there it was like, okay,
Yeah.
let's just write this song. And it ended up being kind of about adult anxiety and like getting overwhelmed with all of
Mhm.
this stuff happening in your life. But I love that that's contrasted with this like really nostalgic childhood feeling Hillary Duff sound. It was bringing me kind of comfort dealing with my
Hmm.
anxiety in that way.
Yeah, it's like a happy sounding song with sad lyrics, which I feel like is always interesting when you see that juxtaposition.
Yeah,
Totally.
for sure, for sure. Um, and so then kind of moving forward, are you working towards like a bigger project, or do you kind of see yourself staying in the singles realm? Where do you kind of see yourself going?
Yeah, so it's always kind of a balancing act. I think we're planning on, wrapping up all of the singles that we've released, at least all the ones we've written here in
Mhm.
Nashville, with an EP that we're hoping to put out sometime this fall or towards the end of the year. And obviously everything's like a little bit dependent on TikTok and stuff like that, which is tough, but that's just the name of the game these days, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah, we when we first moved to Nashville, we actually didn't release anything for almost a full year. We were just really writing and getting to know people and
yeah,
honing in on our sound. So it's really great that for the past year, really we've been able to put out a lot of new songs and made a lot of new fans, and it's feeling like we're really getting somewhere.
yeah, for sure. You're definitely making waves. Like it's really cool to kind of having had the opportunity now to kind of go from what you were releasing originally as Dawn, and then once you kind of made that transition to Nashville and what you've been releasing since Nashville, it's absolutely amazing. It just kind of not having been there at the beginning, but kind of being able to witness that growth is really cool. And I'm really excited to see what you guys got coming up next and what the rest of the year brings for y'all. So
Thank you.
Absolutely
Yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah, it means the world for us like to hear that because we're just constantly grinding as independent artists. So your support means so much. So thank you.
and keep doing the killer TikToks. I like the what was the one I was just watching where McCall, you're like standing on the hood of a car and you've got the weird fisheye look.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
yeah, that's a fun one. Everybody gives us crap about me standing on his car, and he's like, "It's a 2015 Honda Accord. It's fine."
Yeah, it's not
Right.
like it's a nice car. I feel like the video, it might have rained or something the day before because it looks like my car is like polished and like clean. And I'm like, if you actually saw this in person, it's like
Yeah.
not that nice. It's like scratched up. But yeah, everyone
Right.
was just complaining on the video. There's like half the comments were about like, get off the hood, you're gonna break the car.
So we might be off to shoot another one of those right now.
Yeah, but
Nice.
we're
Nice.
definitely gonna keep doing that because if it's controversial, it works.
Yeah. It's but just kind of like the look and the feel of the entire like what you guys did there was really cool and just thinking outside the box, especially because I know like the internet and musicians are in a weird like crossroads where you still need those visual elements, but like music videos aren't quite what they used to be. So you need to kind of think outside the box with what you're doing. And that the TikToks you guys have been throwing out are like that nice happy medium. And I'd be really interested to see what a full concept video of what you're doing on TikTok would look like.
Yeah, no, we did. We actually did a couple music videos that are on YouTube
Mm.
for some of the other songs. We didn't do one for 2002. I feel like we're not really sure how the licensing works there because it's like we were kind of like we had to figure that all out with like
Yeah.
Bowling for Soup and their like label and all that. So
Yeah.
we're not sure if we have the permissions to do a music video, but obviously we'd love to sometime. But yeah, no, the TikToks I feel like are the name of the game. Music videos are just still so expensive, so it's hard to justify doing them
Yeah.
often. But yeah, I'm always usually filming the TikToks with McCall. It's hard to have someone unless we have a cameraman or something like
Mhm.
that. But we use a 3D camera a lot, which is what
360.
360. I always call it 3D, but 360 camera, which allows us to do that kind of like the hood on
Yeah.
the car video where you're like the camera's flying in from far away and stuff like that.
Moving forward, how often are you guys playing shows right now? Where are you kind of at in that ballpark?
Yeah, totally. So right now we're not playing a ton of shows around Nashville because we're trying not to just like be playing shows every week. There's just so much stuff to do in terms of like getting your content done, working on new songs. There's a lot of plates up in the air.
Yeah.
So I feel like for us right now we're more focused on working on this EP and finishing up content for it. And then we're hopefully, maybe gonna hop on some outside of the city shows, later this year, and maybe, next summer looking at like a tour or something like that.
That would be awesome.
That would be the plan,
Yeah.
ideally. Maybe play some
Nice.
festivals. That's the dream for us.
Next goals.
Yeah.
Sweet. That would be awesome. And then if anybody wants to check out Dawn and support everything you got going on, check out those awesome TikToks or listen to your music shows, whatever. Where's the best place to find you?
Any platform, all under the name DAVV, double V instead of a W, N dot music. You can find us there. Message us. We always respond. We're around. We want to get to know everybody. So feel free to reach out whenever.
Yeah, definitely most active on Instagram and TikTok, and then obviously Spotify too.
Yep. Awesome. Awesome. Well, once again, thank you all so much for hanging out with us. Really appreciate it. Thank you everybody for tuning in. We'll be right back after this music